And back in the studio is Lisa Waterslane. She comes each week just to inspire us, to share some garden insight that, well, we just want a woman's perspective sometimes, because otherwise all the garden shows are put together by men. It's just kind of like, oh, here we
That's
go.
still
Here's
true.
this is like bib overalls, and except for
Martha Stewart.
TikTok, well, Martha, okay, there we go. But she's more
Home.
recipes and decorations with the garden segment.
Did you see her swimsuit cover?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
How could I miss that?
I don't know.
You're talking to every man out there's tuned in. It's Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. We've all been watching that since the 70s. Martha was a
Yeah.
surprise.
She's what, in her 80s?
Yep. They did a good
But
job.
hey, good for her.
Yep.
Yes, I wouldn't do it. And I'm in my 50s.
Well, I think you're a hottie out on the lake no matter what. You still catch my eye after 35 years. Uh-huh. Never mind.
I don't even know.
That's my John Wayne said this. Anyway.
Why'd you go to John Wayne?
Gardening. So gardening. What kind of gardening information?
Gardening. So we're in summer now.
Yes,
we're
we are.
definitely at that summer.
Solstice is here.
Yes. So there are shrubs that do better in the summer heat.
Oh, yeah.
That perfectly happy out there blooming in the sun in the summer. So I thought we'd talk about some of those.
Yeah, it's kind of good that we're covering that, because people have been calling in worried about their summer plants. The spring was so cool so long. Mm-hmm. The summer lovers, they do not like spring. They like the summer. They want to be out when the lizards and the snakes and when the condors are flying overhead. They want to be, they're summer lovers, not spring lovers.
That is very true. Yeah, so there's a lot of shrubs that can give you that color through the summer. The one that always comes to mind for me is Potentia.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I just think it's such a good, tough shrub. Probably 3x3?
Knee high. Yep, absolutely.
Little yellow blooms. There are some that have pink blossoms on them, some that tend a little more orange. But it's a good, consistent, very drought hardy, animal resistant. It's very consistent out in the landscape.
We put it in commercial landscapings quite often because you can run it over with a semi truck and it'll still keep blooming. It just it's that tough. And so we companion plant that with like catmint, spireas, salvia gregii, Russian sage. There's a whole bunch of these plants like to grow together and take a blow dryer to them. They like the heat. So that's one. And animals, you're right there with javelina, deer. They don't bother. It looks delicious, but they don't bother that one.
Yeah. So I'd say that's a really good one out for those hot spots that are difficult to put things in.
What, a yellow flower about the size of a quarter, something like that? Perfect.
Yeah. So another one that I think does fabulous is the Rose of Sharon.
Yeah.
A type of hibiscus. So those, it's not the great big bloom like you see on the tropicals, but you get a lot of blooms on a plant. They come in pinks and whites and purples and reds and
double flower, single flower, variegated flower.
Yeah, so very versatile, very nice to put out there in the yard.
That's tall though, man. It gets
big.
up. That's lilac size. We're getting like traditional lilac. That gets easily head high plus 2-3 feet unless you keep it trimmed. And literally, you and I have had some Rose of Sharon's or hibiscus that have had so many flowers, we had to stake it back up because it just was so laden with flowers, you couldn't see the foliage. It's an amazing plant.
It is. So that's another good one that I really like.
What about just roses?
Yeah.
Rose of Sharon. Well, summer bloom. They look great in the spring and the fall. They'll have their everbloomers have flowers on them year round.
Yeah. I think the shrub roses do better in the heat and in blooming. I think they're more of a continual bloomer than, say, the hybrid tea or the grandifloras. So definitely those are. And Monrovia has some really nice kind of new ones in their perfume line,
nice.
They call them.
Shrub rose, but perfumed or fragrant.
Very fragrant, too. I was very impressed on the smell on them. And it takes a lot for me to smell things nowadays, but I could smell those. So very, very fragrant. Butterfly bush.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another one that can get big. Certain Black Knight, Pink Delight, those are the ones that get 6-8 feet tall. definitely get huge. But they've come out with different series of them. So the Buzz series, I think it's about 4 to 5, like Miss Violet, Miss Ruby, really striking colors like magenta pink and dark purple. So there's some really good colors in that line that are more well behaved.
Yeah, I just planted a red butterfly bush just off the patio. It's little. It's a little guy, and maybe it's not even knee high yet. It's growing fast. And I was cleaning up some mimosa trees, the dead branches, and I dropped some on it. And it just smacked it. I think it'll recover. I gave it some root and grow. It was. So it'll come back. It's one of those accidents. Just happens.
Is why you should prune
in the winter.
February.
I hear you. I just didn't. So I had some dead branches that were bothering me. I was taking them out. And then it took out our brand new butterfly. You know what? We own a garden center. If it doesn't make it, I'll bring home another one.
I was looking so happy. And so they also have another series called the Pugster series. Those get about 2 by 2. The thing I like about those is the blossom is the same size as a regular butterfly bush, but the plant definitely is more of a miniature.
Yeah.
So those come in white and pinks and lavenders.
Great in containers. I mean, just raised beds right off the patio where you just can't have this ginormous thing. Right. It stays cuter. So same as Potentia size. Shrub rose, you keep down that low. Carpet roses, things, spireas, you can keep lower. Absolutely. What about smoke bush? That's just starting to come out.
That is true.
It's got that smoky kind of wispy flower that starts in summer. Can get bigger, so you can keep them down to chest high or so. But if you let them go, they'll get considerably larger.
We got a one in called Golden Spirit smoke bush.
Ooh, yeah.
So it has kind of a very bright, like chartreuse green leaf to it. I thought it was very attractive, especially if you have an area where you have darkness or it's
dark rock. Using that mocha rock. If that shines, pops
something
better.
Where you really want a contrast in color, it would be amazing.
Yeah, and equally as hardy. Take wind, it'll take the wind, the sun. It's equally as robust as the purple one. The purple ones are more popular, but sometimes purple blends into all these native blues we have. True. The dark rocks that are so popular, ground cover that's so popular right now. Yeah. Sometimes you need a bright pop of color, not a dark pop of color.
Crepe myrtles.
Oh, sure. Classic.
That's another one that
people don't realize we can grow crepe myrtle. Crepes grow great here.
They do. We don't usually do the big trees like maybe you find in Texas and Southern Cal or the southern parts of this country, but they do beautiful. And the colors on the crepe myrtles are just so bright, so intense. You kind of drive by and you're like, oh, what is that? Because they just really catch your eye.
You know, it's been looking striking the last few weeks are tree roses. So they have just they're trained to be a miniature tree, and then they get, I don't know, 4 foot around or so, and they are just covered with flowers right now. They're quite striking. And I think we don't think of roses. We think of them as high maintenance, like poodles or something out in the yard and need a haircut every 2 weeks. They aren't. They can be super easy, especially in a drier, brighter climate like we are. We don't get the mildew. We don't get black spot. We don't have as many issues with June beetles, and we just don't have those. And so I think they should be considered more often, even from folks that maybe go, I saw my grandparents deal with those. They were always out there. Well, you don't have to be. I think they can be nicer.
I agree.
What else?
Caryopteris.
Sure.
Blue mist, bluebeard.
Yeah.
That's another one. Put it in the heat, boy, and it's happy.
Desert willow. We could go on and on and on. Chaste tree. But we are out of time. Thank you, Lisa, for coming in. Ken and Lisa Lane, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this.